recording. Okay, cool. So thank you very much for joining. I don't think I've actually spoken to you guys a lot since you came on board. I think you've mostly spoken to Ellie, so it's lovely to meet you. But today I want to talk about Google My Business for the most part because it's a free tool and there is so many things that you can do to generate additional bookings that at the moment I can't see that have been done. So it's going to be really useful, hopefully, in that sense. There's 4 really key parts of Google. You'll probably know this stuff anyway, but we're only going to touch on 2 of them today, Google My Business and Google Trends. So have you used Google Trends before?
No.
Fine. It's a keyword research tool. It will be a lifesaver when you're doing your digital marketing going forward. It's free, again, and just goes alongside Google My Business. So just for a bit of context, so why is it important to talk about Google My Business? So the latest data we have is from 2020. We're still waiting on 2021's data. However, for your local rankings over time since 2013, Google My Business has grown in importance from about 20% to 33%, which is quite big. And then reviews have gone from, I think it's 10% to 16%. So nearly 50% of your entire local rankings in Google, when somebody searches for, I don't know, outdoor clubs for kids near me, that kind of thing, nearly 50% of your entire ranking is determined by Google My Business and the reviews that sit inside it. So it's really important that you're doing everything you can to optimize it, because that's half the battle in terms of ranking towards the top. Okay, that's why we're talking about it today. The first thing we're going to look at is your Google My Business name. There's something that you can do here to generate a little bit more website traffic. So at the minute, you've got your brand, which is the Outdoors Project, and you've got your location, which is Lincoln. But there's something else we can put in there to make it, to get you more impressions and get you more website traffic. So I'll show you that once we come out of the presentation. I'm just going to set the scene first, and we'll come out into Google and do it together.
Yeah.
The second thing is the address. I think most of you have managed to verify it at the actual venues, but if you haven't, we'll talk about that and we'll talk about what we can do there as well. Now then, just a quick one here. So have you guys heard of citation management before?
No.
So simply put, citation management is just something that can help you massively in terms of your Google rankings when people are searching for a kids activities club near your areas. So what we should be doing here is, if you have a look at your address in Google, right? So for one of our clients, Timpson here, it says 70 High ST instead of street.
Mm-hmm.
That abbreviation needs to be replicated across every other platform that you have a listing. So every directory that you currently have listings. The reason for that is Google follows its own address system when it comes to your ranking. So you'll just rank a lot higher if that's consistent across Facebook, Trustist, and everywhere else. So just maybe spend a bit of time afterwards just looking at that, because it's a quick win in terms of showing up a lot higher in Google. Okay.
So you just mean the address needs to be consistent, as in however it's written.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly right, but follow how it's written on Google first. So Google.
Put that address into Google.
Say again, sorry.
Wouldn't have we put that address into Google? No.
You would, but sometimes Google will abbreviate it for you.
Oh, I see. So okay, so
Yeah.
they've done that. We wouldn't have written that. They would have done that. Okay, fine.
Yeah, awesome, and then replicate across everywhere else. Yeah. So 2 more things. I'm not going to dwell on these 2 because you've pretty much sorted these, but just make sure the opening hours and phone number are put in there correctly, because the amount of businesses I see that don't do it is just staggering, but you guys have done it. And there's some other touch points we're going to talk about in a sec. So now it's onto the sort of important stuff that you're doing some of, but perhaps you could do more of in terms of generating additional calls and website traffic. So this is a recent study from this year, and what we've found is that the more pictures, photographs, and videos, all that content that you have in Google My Business, the more of these requests you get. So businesses that had over 100 images in all their Google My Business locations just get a staggering amount of phone calls and website visits compared to those that have between 50 and 100 pictures. The reason for this is Google will just rank you a lot higher if you've got more content in Google My Business. Now, I'm not advising you to go away and just smash 100 photos into it today, but what I would say is over time, keep adding new photos all the time. And I'm going to show you some tips around getting your clients to do this for you as well, so you don't have to. But this correlation has been strong for years.
Yeah. Just on that, because I'm sure you'll come back to it, but when you can post to Google through Trustis, can we post as an HQ to all the businesses that come under us, or do we have to do it individually?
You would have to do it individually.
Fine, so they have to do it. Fine, okay.
Yeah, they would, yeah. So next, similar kind of numbers, but this is really important, perhaps more important. So the more pictures and videos and photos you have, the more discovery searches you get found for. So a discovery search is different to a direct search. So a direct search is when someone goes to Google and searches the outdoors project. So they know what they're searching for. A discovery search is kids activities near me. So they're not specifically looking for you. They're the searches that you want to be found for, because they're the people that would be new customers who don't know you yet. So the more pictures you have there, the more of those you're going to get found for, because you rank higher. And this isn't just in Google Maps. This is also organically, which is where we're helping you as well. So it's so important to make sure that you've got loads of pictures, loads of video content in Google My Business, okay? So hopefully that data is convincing enough, but it just seems to work pretty quickly as well.
Does it matter what those pictures are named?
No, not really. Don't worry about that. So yeah, no, don't worry about that at all. It just, Google wants to see relevant, fresh activity all the time. They just want to see that you're posting regularly. So photos is part of that. I know you've got your posts as well, which you do some of, but pictures is slightly different to that. So this is something that is very recent, and it's called they're called justifications. And basically Google has started giving people a blue tick and shooting them right to the top of the rankings locally when somebody performs a specific search. But the reason I bring these up is because they can be directly influenced by you and your franchisees. So for example, I just went to Google on my phone and I searched for kayaking lessons near me. So we're based in York, so it showed a few based around the York and Northeast area. And it shot Lost Earth Adventures to the top. Now, Lost Earth Adventures don't really mention anywhere that they offer kayaking lessons other than in their services section in Google My Business. So in your Google My Business, you'll have products, services, all this stuff. If you've got something written in your services that somebody performs a search for that thing in Google, if you've got it there, sometimes it will give you that blue tick and shoot you to the top now. So it's well worth going through that services section and writing down literally everything that you guys do. So do you guys do, kayaking and whitewater rafting, or whatever it is that you do, hiking, all the stuff that you offer, because they're the things that parents might be searching for, and you've got every chance of getting bumped right to the top for that search. So that's called a services justification. And I'm going to show you where you can edit all that stuff and why Google Trends is important for that in a second. Now, there's two more types of justifications that you can influence in Google My Business. So I've just done a quick example here this morning when I was just looking for some camera hire in Covent Garden. And you can see that these two at the bottom here, Fujifilm and DV camera hire, they've got these other, it's not a blue tick. One of them is an earth symbol and one of them is a person symbol. So the earth symbol is called a website justification. If you've got those different things listed on your website, like a page for the hiking stuff that you do or the other services that you offer, you'll find that when someone searches for it, you get bumped into that 3 snack pack with a little earth symbol saying their website mentions that they do this. This boosts website traffic massively because you're giving people exactly what they've searched for. So that can be influenced directly from what you've got on your website. Now, below that is what we call a reviews justification. So if you've got something written in your customer reviews that relates to that search directly, you will show up again higher up with that little person symbol and a bit of the review will appear. So you might have seen this before, but you can influence this by making sure that when you ask a customer for a review, you ask them to mention like the specific activities that they enjoyed or that they took part in. Because when somebody else goes to Google and searches for that, I don't know, hiking for kids, whatever it is, that review will show up like this and you'll get bumped up the rankings a little bit for that search.
Retrospectively, so we've got loads of lovely reviews saying all the things. We then go and add the services and match it to all the things that we've got in the reviews. Will that happen retrospectively?
Absolutely, yeah.
Perfect. So
yeah, definitely. So definitely can be influenced by you. Look, it takes a bit of time to get this right, but it's well worth doing.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So there's 3 types of justifications, just to recap, that you should be focusing on. You've got your services, you've got your reviews, and you've got your website justifications, all that can be influenced directly by you. Now then, I'm going to come out of the presentation and we're going to go into Google and just have a look at a few things together now that you can, again, influence yourself. Let's have a look. So let's test top 3. So you should be able to see a little graph now, and this is what we call Google Trends, and it's a free tool that Google offer for you to do keyword research around what people actually might be searching for to find the types of things that you do. So I've done it might be a fairly crude example because I don't know your business anywhere near as well as you do. However, hopefully this makes sense. So what I've done is I've just compared how many people actually go to Google and search for an outdoor club versus outdoor clubs. So the plural and the singular. Do people search for outdoor activities or outdoor activity or adventure club like you've got in your logo as well? And you can see it's pretty clear that outdoor activities in the plural is searched for a lot more than any of these other search terms. So what I would be doing with that knowledge is utilizing it in my Google My Business to generate additional website traffic. What I mean by that is when I go to, so the Outdoors project, there we go, Lincoln, let's just use Lincoln as the example again. So I said earlier that there's 3 things you can put in a title to make sure you're showing up for the most search terms. You've got your brand, you've got your location, and you've got that service that we've just identified by Google My Business, which is outdoor activities. So again, you can do any comparisons you want in here. You might think that that's not the best way to describe it, but one thing to note there is that once you can change that multiple times. This will change over time as well. So I was doing this with Turtle Tots the other day, and I did it with them 6 months ago, and this was just really different. And I think it just depends on what people are searching for over that 6-month period. So I've done it over the past 12 months, but you can shorten this to the past 90 days and so on.
So you're saying her title would be The Outdoors Project Lincoln Outdoors Activities for Kids as one line or whatever?
Yeah, so the Outdoors Project, Outdoor Activities for Kids, or Children's Outdoor Activities, whatever you want to put, and then Lincoln, yeah.
And would you put any kind of punctuation in there? Or
yeah, you know what I like to put in between? It's like a little, I have no idea what it's called, but it looks better than, I'll put it into here.
The vertical line?
Yeah, that one, yeah. So it looks like an eye there. I don't know why I'm just saying that. Anyway, you know what I mean. It looks quite smart, doesn't it?
I think that looks best,
yeah. So definitely do that, because what you'll find is you get a few more impressions. Again, all of this is designed to just make sure that you show up for every single possible search term.
Yeah.
Now, saying that, we've just talked about services and all the stuff that you can type in to generate additional website traffic. I would also be including these searches like outdoor club, outdoor activity, adventure club in the services, because you can see that some people do search for them. Yeah. But not the majority, and that's the important thing here. So get them into services, but don't put them in the title. Only put the most common one in the title.
Sorry, really another boring question. Where do we go? Is Google Trends we're just part of Google Business, or do you have to? Is that a separate thing?
No, literally, you just go to Google, right? Type in Google Trends.
It's not associated to our account or anything like
that.
No,
it's just out there for anybody. Okay, so just the top one there, trends.google. Yeah, and then another thing that you would do in here perhaps is when you're in your services section and you're adding all the different things you do, you might want to do a comparison between are people searching for, like I say, hiking for kids or outdoor sports for kids, all these different things that they might be searching for, and then you can go and add. I don't know why I keep going back to hiking. I don't know if you do that, but that's just what I think when I think of outdoors. So I'll show you very quickly. I know you might know this already, but let's just, for anybody else watching who's not here as well, once you've logged into Google My Business, the place to add this in your title and edit it, I'll just go to ours because we manage quite a lot of these for other people. Bear with.
No, do you manage them for other people?
We do, yeah. Is that of interest to you, Sam?
I don't know. I'm just wondering whether in a short-term fix to get it up to speed, it might be just, but I don't know. Well, you manage as in you just regularly make sure that it's doing what it should be doing. Yeah,
so the things like the research into Google Trends, we'll go in and edit their profiles, make sure the services are up to date, make sure that they're getting enough bookings through it, that kind of thing, by designing an appointment-based system through it. All these things that perhaps you don't have time to do, or, so we can definitely have a separate chat about that if you want. about doing that for you guys, or like you say, just do a one-off where we get it ship shape and then give it back to you to upkeep.
Yeah. Okay.
So the place to change that in your titles, for everybody who's watching, in the info section, this is where you're going to make the majority of the changes that we discuss. Just here at the top, first thing, click the pencil icon and do it. You can see what we've done. I've not used the vertical lines in this one. This was done a couple of years ago, but Trustist, customer reviews, which is our service, UK. Okay. And because we serve the entire UK, but you guys are much more heavily localized, which is going to be even more important for you. So that's the title, which is one of the most important things. Now, the second most important thing is the address and the service areas. So where you want to get found. Now, at the moment, for the outdoors project, Lincoln, so you've got this prep school. I'm guessing that's where this franchisee runs the classes.
In Brighton Hove, we've actually got so many multiple sites, and we pop up and we move. Yeah. So we've set a map area, and so I did want to talk about that map. And also, it's difficult because we're often at venues that aren't ours to get them to verify them as ours. So we've set a map area. So it'd be good to hear what you have to say about that. Yeah.
No, I was literally going to say that if you're struggling to verify, just set your service areas, but use postcodes and be as granular as possible. Now, the reason that this is important is because when somebody in, I don't know, a small village that is in one small postcode is searching perhaps for their kids, but they use near me as a search. If you've got it in your service areas, you will show up in that area. So it's just, I would suggest that even if you have got your address verified, just make sure that every postcode possible. Well, I think you only get 20. So
that's fine. Yeah, that's great.
Amazing. So you're doing the right thing there if that's what you're doing.
Well,
fantastic. So we'll leave that with you. In terms of the actual getting them verified, if you do want to display one of your venues or set them up for other venues, the best thing that I've found, and I know it sounds simple, but with a lot of the people that have struggled before in the kids activity sector, is just as soon as you do it, you might have tried this, call the school, call the venue and just say, look, it's going to look like junk mail. It literally looks like a piece of junk mail that says Google on it, but please save it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've probably tried that, but it tends to just get
in like 2 days or something, don't you, as well?
Yeah, I think it takes 4 days, they say, but sometimes it arrives in 2 or whatever. But yeah, you just
so in Brighton, we've got our office where we're sat now as our address.
Yeah.
It's not actually where we run any clubs. So I think it's best just to take that address off completely.
Yeah, so
rather than have a lot of our franchises work from their home or whatever. So it's best to just take that out of the equation and have the map area.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So I think, let me just see if this works for, I think this was the search. It might not be, just bear with. No, it's not. So if I do Caterpillar Music, newer, let's see what they've done. Yeah, so you can see here. Have you got some like that?
Yeah, I've got one. Ours is like that. Brighton and Hove is like that.
Yeah, so it's definitely the best option if you don't want people, especially seeing your home address as well, because not least you'll get found in Grantham, Nottingham, and Lincoln if you operate in those areas. If you're this franchisee, for example, but look, there's no harm in getting rid of that address. Google used to stipulate that you must have a physical address in there, but they don't anymore.
I think that's probably what it was then. Okay, that's why we did it.
So no stress there. Okay. Now then, we spoke about photos, but I just want to speak about this in a little bit more detail. So in the photos section here, you can add them yourself just by using this blue plus button. Fairly straightforward. Now, as an online business, we struggle to get photos because I guess we're an online business, like we're kind of a bit faceless in some ways. So the only pictures that we can put up there are when we do events, and we'll take pictures of that. But otherwise, the way that we've managed to do this is just by making images ourselves of blogs and linking through to a blog or an event that's going on, or it might be Nigel at an event, something like that. Do you see what I'm saying? So there's loads of different stuff you can do. It doesn't have to be a photograph. Now for you guys,
millions of photos, we're not sure.
Yeah, you've got rich content, I'm sure. So get them all into there and maybe have a process where you do, I don't know, 5 a week, something like that, just so it's fresh all the time.
You have to caption the photos. So this was blah, blah, like you would social media, or
literally
upload album by album.
Yeah, they do say it's best practice, but I've never seen it affect rankings, which is why I haven't bothered myself. but Google does say that it's best practice. So look, we should be following their best practice. So maybe do as I say, not as I've done there in that situation. But I know you asked earlier, Sam, but I suppose follow them. It won't influence your rankings, but yeah, they do say to do it. Now, another thing that I've found to be useful is that when you're asking people for a review, specifically when you're asking for them to go to Google, get them to add photos themselves. So you can kill two birds with one stone in a sense here. So when you ask them to write a review, so they'll click the Trust This link and click Google, they can add a picture themselves. The beauty of this is that you don't have to do the work. And I don't know, the parents obviously consented to it because they're posting the photo and all that sort of stuff. So I've just found this to be a bit more effective in terms of taking a bit of work off your franchisees' hands.
Do customers do it?
Say again.
Do customers actually do it? I mean, I feel bad enough asking them for a review, let alone taking a picture of their kid and uploading it. But maybe that's just
look. We see it happen all the time for our clients when they start actually asking. But if you don't ask, you're not going to get it. So I think I mean, maybe ask your franchisees to do a test. Next 5 people you ask for a photo, and then ask 5 people without, and see what you get the most success with. But
because that's the other question. I'm sorry, I'm always asking questions.
No, don't be silly, it's fine.
When we ask people for a review, usually we're sending them your Trustis link, so they have a choice: Google, Facebook, Trustis. Every now and then, not that often, but perhaps something we should consider, where we just send people the Google link. And maybe, getting 10 of those versus 50 of all the others is more valuable. And at that point, maybe it's about asking for a photo, because if we ask for a photo and we send them the Trustis link, it's a bit annoying. Yeah,
they won't know where to do it unless you stipulate.
So it's only if we ask for Google ones we should be asking for a photo then.
The way that I would start to use this platform differently is, look, we are under no illusion that Google reviews are the most important. That is just a fact for your rankings. Now, 2 things there. What I would suggest we do for your review screens, when you send it and they click the link, why don't we have Google at the top as the top option instead of the Trustlist option? Have that second. The reason for that is what you can say in the emails going forward or the text. Please click the link to write us a review. We'd really appreciate it if you left it on Google. However, if you don't have a Gmail account, there is an option underneath for you. And then where we come in is to capture that and fire it into Google organic search to boost your rankings there. Yeah. So just streamlining that process a little bit will benefit you massively in terms of your local rankings.
Can we change that on the review screen, or you change that?
I'll do that for you.
Because our review screen is central. I'm saying this for the franchise. Our review screen is central. We set it in HQ.
Yeah.
And they don't have individual ones, do they?
So they do.
Oh, do they?
They do, yeah.
Take that back.
Yeah, so the reason for that is because we want to make sure that we're diverting people through to the correct Google account, because Google wants to see relevant reviews for relevant locations. So they do have their own. The Brighton one has got the most reviews by far, but yes, we can change that.
I know they have their own links. Do they have their own template review screen? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, it can be different for everyone. So, but let's just put Google to the top for everyone because it'll benefit you. Yeah. Fantastic. So that's photos. Get the parents to do some and do some yourself. Now then, another thing to mention, which I haven't seen, have you used the appointment link on here before? Do you use it for the Brighton one?
No. Let's
have a look. So the Outdoors Project Brighton. So, oh yeah, I can see that. Lovely. No, it's not there. So, a couple of things. When I search for Trustlist York, I'll show you. It's really sort of subtle, but it works really well. Worked well for us over the years.
Sorry, another question. That products thing, is that different to services?
It is indeed. I'm going to cover that alongside services in a second. Absolutely. But good question, because it is important. So this appointment link here, when someone finds Trustlist, you can see appointments, trustlist.org. When somebody clicks that, it'll take them straight through to my calendar or my colleague's calendar to book a meeting with us. We didn't think any much of it, but we get so many organic demonstrations as a result of just having that there. And I think it's because people have a touch point where they don't have to bother going through to your website and finding where they need to book. So for each franchisee, and I believe you've got your own booking system, am I right? It's not, yeah. So on the info section here, your franchisees and yourself, you should see that you've got an appointment link. You can put multiple appointment links in there if you want as well, if you've got a few different types of classes. But what I would suggest doing is making sure that you've all got your specific links put in there, because you might get some more bookings directly from Google.
Oh, so instead of clicking website, they're just clicking straight through to, it's just the same place, but it's just a different way of getting them.
It's the same place. Well, I suppose so, but it could also be, let me have a look on your website. So if I go to,
Yeah.
so where would you want to get them so that they have every chance of booking? It would be,
Well, go to the Brighton page. And so each individual, yeah, so they'd go to the Lincoln page.
and then they've got, obviously you've got book holiday clubs, book weekend clubs. You could even have one of the links, put it through a shortener, call it Saturday clubs, link them through to the book now link.
So you could have a link for saplings, a link for after
Yeah.
school, link for,
But I think the link doesn't change.
I don't think it matters, because I think it
Does
I
that
mean,
one not?
even if we had the same, could you have the same link with the different listings?
You can, but what I would, so you can, but it'll show us the same link every time. So what I would suggest doing, do you know what Bitly is?
Yeah.
So if you fire this link through a shortener and name it something different, you'll be able to keep track of what people are clicking on.
Yeah, because I think sometimes people come for one thing, they don't know we do something else. So they might have landed for after school clubs, but then they see they can book a holiday club. They might, without going to our website, they won't know that. So
Absolutely. So I think it's a really good, basically the reason that this works is because the more clicks you add into a customer journey, the less likely they're going to follow through to become an actual customer, because they just can't be bothered, they get bored. And that's why it works really well. So another point on that, on the sort of additional customer touch points, have you used the messaging feature on the left-hand side here? Do you know what this is?
no.
Right. So if you and your franchisees download the Google My Business app and you turn on messaging here, when somebody finds you on their phone, they'll have an option, outdoors project, Brighton. People will have an option of just firing you a quick instant message from the top here, where they can also press to give you a phone call. See just here, they'll like message, and it'll pop up on your phone like a WhatsApp or a Facebook Messenger, whatever it is. The good thing about that as well is we found that useful in terms of people that clearly didn't want to commit to a demo or commit to a booking, but they just wanted to ask, do you offer this kind of thing? And it's a great way of capturing leads again. So
We have so many parents that are very lazy that will just send a we've actually switched off our Facebook messaging.
Yeah.
Just do, well, no, we're just directing them to send us an email.
Yeah, we've got like an auto message that just says send an email instead, because we don't look at this, because they just,
I'm not sure. I mean, every franchise can decide what they want to do. It might be at the beginning of their journey, they do that, and then they decide that their parents are too annoying. But there's a lot of information on our website. So the idea is obviously to speak to the person and get them to go to the website. But sometimes it's become a bit diluted when they've had various mobile numbers or WhatsApp or Facebook and Instagram. And actually then it just falls through the gaps, I think. Fine. So yeah, that's good to know.
Fine. Yeah, no, it's there for you to utilize if necessary, but totally understand if you don't want to. So that's the appointment link. I think you should still definitely have in there.
The messages would just show as a press a button at the top if they decide to do it. Sorry, I didn't.
Yeah, it'll just be a little button that says message, and then people can just directly message them. Yeah. Now then, you asked about products. This is really important, and it's becoming more important. The reason for that is, so if I go into here, you've got, and you've done the right thing, you're listing your services as products. So Google made this change about a year ago and said, products are not just products anymore, services are also products as well. So they just use that term interchangeably. So that led us to be like, well, why don't we just post all our services as a product as well? So you're doing the right thing there. And I would suggest that your franchisees do a similar thing as well, because again, we want people to see the array of things that you offer without actually having to come through to the website first. You're much more like businesses that have the products filled out, get more website traffic than those that don't. It's just as simple as that. So every franchisee watching this perhaps, or if you're talking to them, really advise them to do that. You don't have to put pricing. I know you have on one or two of them. You can if you want. It's totally up to you. So let's go back into here. Now, this section is one of the most important because, as I said earlier, the services are where you can actually influence with those little blue ticks and get yourself shot to the top to get that website traffic. So make sure in this section that you've used Google Trends and you've got, so what we did is you can see for us, what might people search for to find customer review platform? It might be stars in Google, it might be increase my reviews, review collection, all these things that we've got in there now. And traffic is at an all-time high for us. And I would put it down to some of these changes that we've made here. So just do the same for yourselves for all the different services you offer. And again, if you want us to go in and do it for you, we'll talk about that afterwards, Sam, as well. Cool. So I'm going to go back into presentation ever so quickly, just for a few more things on reviews. But before I do that,
is there a maximum number of services you can add?
I've seen businesses with about 30 to 40 in there. This was only last week, but Google does change it sometimes. So you've got loads of wiggle room there. Yeah. But remember postcodes when you're adding those to service areas, maximum of 20. Okay. So before I go into the presentation again to just talk about reviews a little bit more and see how we can utilize Trustist a bit more, I just want to make everybody aware of where you can appeal a Google review if you've had a dodgy one, or if your franchisees have had a malicious review that they're upset about. You just go into the review section on the left-hand side here, and you click the 3 dots next to the review and you flag it as inappropriate. That is literally the only recourse you have with Google My Business. It'll then come up with a list of, was it sexually inappropriate? Was it malicious? Whatever it was. Make sure you tick the right one, because if you don't, Google will just ignore it. That's the only way to get a review removed. Thankfully, you guys, I think, have over 1,000 reviews. We can have a look here. Yeah, 1,400. You've actually only got 3 1-star reviews, which is pretty incredible across that number of reviews. So well done. Now, just for everybody's benefit, right? There's something that I'm not seeing everybody do, which will have a massive impact on your Google rankings, both organically and in maps when people search for kids activities near me and when you show up. That is that responding to both positive and negative reviews. So I can see that you've gone in and handled the really negative comments if it's been necessary, but a lot of these positive comments here haven't been responded to. And it's just so important. So Google stipulates that if you do it within 24 hours, you'll rank higher than businesses that just don't bother responding. Now, one thing on that, do you want, or have you already got notifications turned on to let you know whenever a new review comes in?
I don't know.
Would it be just one of us, or would it be two? No, I don't think we have.
So what we can do is we can do it for each franchise. So when they get a review, they get alerted, or we can do it for you, and we can do it for yourself when you need to be alerted. But I think we should turn that on, because like I said, this will influence rankings, and this is one of the ways that Trustist can be utilized a bit better. And it's so simple. You just come in here, view and reply. You respond from within here on Google as well.
Does it matter if it's not too personal and you're replying the same thing, or thanks so much, glad you had a good day? Does it matter?
No, if it's a positive review, just copy and paste you. Thank you so much.
Okay, it doesn't look bad because no one else is really going and looking at all these.
Nah, I mean, look, the responses are important. If you've got a bad review, obviously there's going to need some bespoke work there. But I think for positive stuff, people just want to see that you've bothered to thank people. Do you know what I mean? So it will work for your rankings, and it'll work just in terms of conversions on websites. When people see that you're engaging back with your customers,
so it needs to happen within 24 hours or something.
They say that 24 hours is the optimum time. Look, if you wait 48, it's not going to damage your rankings. But
yeah, up and down, because what happens is we'll have 200 kids a day over the holidays, and then we get 20 reviews a night, and everyone's working really hard, and then we come out the other side and tend to look at them. So I guess just being aware of that and people working out how valuable it is to them is important.
Absolutely. And again, if you want us to look at helping you out with that, if you say, right, we've got half term coming up, there's going to be loads of reviews coming in. Is someone at Trustist able to just respond to the positive ones with what we've done before is we've cycled through like 10 generic positive responses for a business when they get loads of reviews on the same day. It looks quite good because it does look bespoke, but it's quite an easy bit of work. So
Tracy here in the office, but a lot of the franchises are one-man band who are doing absolutely everything. So it's good.
It might be useful, yeah. So that's a really good way to utilize this. So cool, that's that. Now let me go back into the presentation, like I said, because I've just got a few more things to talk about. Now, were you guys aware that we have released video reviews?
No.
I'll take that as a no worries. Okay, so we released it, I think, we did send a press release out, but I'm not convinced it actually reached everyone because not a lot of people have started using it, but it's going to be useful. So we'll talk about that in a sec. Now, before we do, I'm not 100% sure if you've got this on your website or not, so forgive me for not double checking, but if you've got a testimonials page, change it to reviews because nobody searches for testimonials anymore these days. Everybody searches for reviews. So it'll help with your SEO to have something like that on the website. And even for your franchisees, just having a reviews heading on their pages, it'll benefit you all in terms of your rankings and clicks. You're already using the platform, so I don't really need to bang on about the benefit of using reviews, but just to say that businesses, so for your franchise, I know a lot of you are collecting loads of reviews and fairly regularly, but businesses that have 25 up-to-date reviews displaying on their website see a lot more higher revenue increases than those that just don't. I just think this has to be relevant up-to-date reviews. It can't be reviews from 6 months ago. The data that we've got here suggests that if you've got it relevant and up-to-date, you'll find more bookings. So
is it important? So obviously we bring through the reviews from Trustis and they are dated and we know when they're from. As part of our website, we also pull off quotes, but I actually took the dates off because we were then leaving them and they were looking old. So is that a good mix, or do you think they should always have a date with them?
I would always leave the date on. I think what we've found over the years, even just talking to our customers, is that if you're looking at a website and you can see a comment, but you don't know when it's from, or you can see that it's from a year ago, you're like, well, are they still offering the same service? Like, is it still the same? I don't know. So I think we just try and be as up to date as possible. Now, this is just an interesting one, but what we've found over the last few years is that actually don't stress if you get a couple of average or negative comments, because a 4.9, 4.8 or a 4.7 actually gets more website traffic than a 5 out of 5. This is across thousands of kids' activities business. I know it sounds really counterintuitive, but I think it's just not least the fact that British people are just fairly cynical at the best of times, but also if you've responded to that negative feedback in a really genuine manner, people seem to really appreciate it. So you guys on Google, I think, are a 4.9, so you spot on. I don't think there's anything to worry about. But yeah, just don't worry, guys, if you get any negative feedback. This is huge. So this is something that you aren't currently using in Trustis and that you and your franchisees can access. So we've released the functionality to collect video reviews from your customers. Now, the reason that this is good is because it's easy. So what you'll do is on your review screen where it says leave us a review on Google, Trustis or Facebook, you'll have a video option at the bottom if you use this. And your customer will get sent a link, they'll click it, and then it'll ask them basically just to film it on their mobile phone. And when they filmed it on their phone, it'll fire it back into Trustis. It will automatically add captions and it will automatically add your branding and a star rating, and that can be utilized as a review in your Google search results. So you're going to get a lot more people engaging with content on your website. You can share it to Instagram. We've got integrations.
Does it come and sit on our reviews page? People can click into it, or?
Yeah, exactly. So I'll show you. In fact, just before I show you, the reason that we started doing this is that once we started putting video reviews on some of our website pages, we just saw massive increases in our conversions, like people booking demos. Similarly, if you can do the same for bookings now and social media as well.
That'd be brilliant. We'll get the kids to leave us a review. That's what we want to do.
Love that idea. Love that idea. Parents just want to see other kids having fun, don't they? Because then they'll take their kids. So let's go back into Trustis and I'll show you where you do this. Now, a couple of caveats to this. Obviously, it was quite a big development piece and we've integrated with a company called shoutout.social. So they do a lot of franchise video content. So in Brighton and Hove, once you click into it, you'll see right at the bottom now, we maybe should have thought about placement here because it's a bit hidden for everyone, but branded shareable video reviews, it will appear and you just click try it free there. Now you get, each location will get 3 of these free of charge, and then you do start paying per video review.
How much?
So 3, I don't know the exact fees because it comes through Shout, but let me get a price list up for you and I'll send it through to you. So you've got it, yeah? So the I think it'll add like maybe 10, 20 quid a month if you start doing 5 to 10 a month. It's not a massive amount, but it is an amount. So
how would we get billed for that? Because we pay every. I'll speak to you about it later. But we pay for everyone and then recharge out to the franchises. So if they start using them individually, I guess we'll get billed.
Yeah, they would get billed by. I think it's either us or Shout Out. I can't remember, but it would. Yeah,
Okay.
they would have to. They would see that when they sign up to it. Now, when you, like I say, when you click try it free, it'll take you through to an onboarding process. It does take about 10 minutes because there's just a few things you need to do. So just bear that in mind. But once it's done, you'll have integrations with Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Google, and Trustist to share those video reviews. So, and it will do it really quick. You just press share to Instagram and it'll fire it out. So what I would suggest is maybe whoever is going to be responsible for this for Brighton first, why don't we book you in with 15 minutes with Ellie and Adriana so that they can walk you through that setup process and get you set up? Should we do that?
Yeah.
Does that sound good? So,
and then we can send it to 3 kids that we know.
Love it.
Clubs, and they can we try it out like that.
I'll be honest as well. Like when we first had this idea, we thought it was going to make us lots of money, but actually, you don't actually need that many more than 3 video reviews. So I'm a great salesman, aren't I? So when is good for you guys? I mean, we've got some time on, looks like Ellie's got some time on Thursday this week, if that would suit.
Yeah, I'm in the office on Thursday. I've just put in a meeting for 9.
Let's have a look. So she's got
10?
She's got 10 a.m.
Yeah, perfect.
Shall I invite yourself, Sam, and Josie, and everybody, or just the 2 of you, or?
Well, if you just invite one of us, we'll do this again.
All right, perfect. Well, that'll be good. I'll send that over to you now then. Right, you should still seeing that, so that's fine. Right, let's just come out of that and just go back into Google My Business for one last moment. But actually, before I do that, are you all utilising the QR codes to collect reviews face to face, or have you not really bothered?
We've tried.
We've got them on our sort of A boards at clubs, so parents are queuing up to pick up their kids for sign in and sign out. They can,
Do we know if anyone's actually used it?
I don't know.
The reason I say it is because where we found the most success with our customers is when you build that into your process of having somebody that I know it's a bit embarrassing, but stands there and says, would you mind just scanning that? Goes through everyone. Would you mind scanning that before you leave and just giving us a review? People don't say no really when you ask them face to face, because at least because it's awkward to say no to someone to their face. But look, you've got them as a captive audience, and I think that's when their kids are at the happiest as well. When they're coming
out and going in. Yeah, we have talked about going and doing stuff like this, and it is a bit embarrassing, and also it's 60 kids and parents are rushing and we're outdoors and it's freezing cold, and had a long day, so it's just trying to balance that out really. But,
you are right, but who do you know that doesn't carry a mobile phone around with them nowadays? Everyone's got one in the pocket.
I never scan anything though, so I'm like, no, not even a menu, nothing. But how long when you scan it, when they're walking away, do they have to then? Oh, they can just they can do it as they're walking to the car, or they can just leave it on the screen for when they get home. But the point is, you've got them hooked to that point. You've got the screen open for them. It's about lead the horse to water and make it drink kind of thing, So let me just go back into Google My Business for the last 5 minutes. I appreciate we're nearly out of time. But would they get the opportunity to leave the video at that point?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's when because we were talking about going and filming kids leaving to get the review.
Yeah. So once you've done this onboarding process with Ellie on Thursday, get it set up and then just maybe try it in one of your classes first.
Yeah.
So that would be fantastic. So that's everything that I wanted to talk about in terms of trust. Is just missing those opportunities for responses and for video reviews. They're the 2 main things. Now then, Google My Business, last thing. I've seen that you are doing this, but posts. So posts will temporarily help you rank a bit higher while they're active. So if you've got an offer or an event upcoming, make sure that you're doing a post about it up here into Google.
So just like a Facebook post. Everybody does Facebook posts, but I don't think any of us do. Well,
I tend to replicate it. So I do a product and an event, and I'll just the same thing because it is a product and it is an event.
Fine.
Yeah, definitely. It's really worth doing these things. So if you can get your franchisees to do it as well. The main reason that they're good, well, two reasons, sorry. Firstly, it's that it counts for about 7 or 8% of your entire local rankings. So got to be done. But also, it's about taking up more real estate in Google, more color, just making your profile look more full. You just find that people engage with it a little bit more as well.
Okay.
So let's do a quick recap. I know that you've got the video recording, so we can share that. However, get your title changed and use Google Trends as the source of data to change that. You've got your brand, you've got your service, you've got your location. Get responding to your reviews, both positive and negative. With your address, if you don't want your home address to show, just delete it and add your service areas, maximum of 20 postcodes. Fill in your services section with as many different activities that you offer so that you get that blue tick and get shot to the top. Start collecting a few video reviews because they will get shared more than your text reviews will. And what have I missed? Photos, massively important. Get lots of content posted. And finally, appointment link to direct people where they can book immediately. That should benefit you as well.
Brilliant.
Cool. Anybody got any questions? Did you find that useful?
That was super useful. I'm really glad we did
Really,
that. We should
really
have done it
happy.
about 2 years ago.
Wicked. So what I'm going to do then is, seeing as I've got my captive audience, I'm going to put a link in there. Would one of you be kind enough to click that and leave me a Google review about how useful this session was, please?
We might leave 3. Yeah.
That would be awesome. If I could ask you to click it before we leave the call, just because it'll disappear otherwise. So
Email us all one as well.
I'll email you as well, just in case. Yeah, absolutely. And if you wouldn't mind, just when you write in the review, if you just make sure you write where you're from. So I'm from the Outdoors Project, that kind of thing. So.
Oh, you mean not location? You mean as in company?
No, just who you are and what business you're from. Yeah, that'd be really helpful. Thank you.
James, quick question.
Yes.
If when you're in Trustis and you can share to Google from Trustis,
Yeah.
I tried sharing a review yesterday and I clicked publish and it didn't seem to go anywhere.
Okay.
It works for one of the franchises, but it doesn't seem to work for ours.
So is there a way of getting so if they don't review on Google, is there a way of getting your Trustis Outdoors Project reviews that are on Trustis over to Google?
Yeah, so that should be working. It should do it automatically if you've got it turned on as well. So let me just check why that won't be working. This might be one for Ellie because I'm not more technical side, but I can get her to have a look today for you. So right and over, you've got it turned on. So if I just go into your most recent review, let's see what happened.
Because at the bottom it says you can do it
manually.
Yes.
You can, yeah. So if I just, let's go into Jasmina.
Yeah, that's the one I tried to share yesterday.
It's not gone anywhere, has it?
No. And then I went to that, clicked on that.
So it normally goes to Facebook automatically.
Yeah, and Twitter.
And Twitter, and then it doesn't normally go to Google. That's right, isn't it? But we can do it manually. Is that correct?
Well, it should go automatically to Google. So,
and I pressed submit there, and nothing happened either.
Yeah, because that's you responding to the review.
Yeah.
So that's different. But let me get onto Ellie. So it looks like, hold on. So the Google My Business API restricts the number of sites you can do a Google post from. That's fine. So let me talk to Ellie about that and see what we can do for you.
And then one other question while we're here. Can we just go to the home page there?
Oh, yeah, of course we can. Yeah, there we go.
Because there's brand and then there's the individual thing. Yeah, so the latest brand review is from ages ago. So we obviously all send out our individual location links.
That's the way to do it.
So what is these brand reviews? Where are they coming from?
So, and in fact, there's not that many, so it might be worth us just popping them into your Brighton location. So basically, the way Trustis works is we've got brand and location. So the distinction is made based on how we display them to Google. So if you've got a brand review, Google sees that as the Outdoors Project. If you've got a location review, it sees it as the Outdoors Project in Lincoln. The reason we do that is because Google needs to see that they are localized reviews.
Yeah.
So it's about the coding in the background that marks them up. The only people that would collect brand reviews really are businesses that don't have a specific location.
So I was thinking, I'm wondering whether this is from a link we had when we first set up or something.
It will be. So I'll get Ellie to move those reviews over into your location so that they're there.
Brilliant.
Oh,
Okay. So, and do we need to email Ellie about Google, or you're going to do that as well?
I'll handle it. Don't worry. I'll get Ellie to have a look and then get in touch with you. It might be that she comes back to you on the call on Thursday and talks to you about it then.
Cool. Okay.
So
That's been super helpful. And you'll share this recording, will you? So we can share it, because I'm just going to share this with the others.
yeah.